Alrighty, so what I want to do here is actually just, you don't have to do any of this. I'm just going to quickly show you some things that you can do that might be a benefit in the future, and just so you know things a little bit better. But I'm not expecting you to actually complete these. You should just work on your project. I will talk about that in the next video. So what I want to do, for one, is show you that you can bring video in. So, and you can also export stuff out. So for instance, if I take this here, I can select this and then go to, I can take this out. Let's say I wanted to animate the scrolling for some reason, right? What I can do is I can actually select this artboard and go File, go to Export, and you'll see After Effects. Boop. Okay, I'm going to pause the video, and when After Effects, it'll automatically pop up, and after it pops up, I'll show you what it gives me, and then you'll see, but it takes a little bit for that program to pop up and to have all the information, but I'll show you what it gives you. All right, so this pops up. I'm just going to hit OK. It should hopefully open. There we go. And you're going to see what it does is it actually gives you all of your elements right inside of here. So then I could theoretically like animate this moving up and down. And if you don't know After Effects, you don't need to know this. But if you do, this could be an interesting thing so you can export it out. So theoretically, what you could do is export out all of your artboards and then animate like a video showing how it's going to function. And I'm pretty sure that's what their idea is. So that gives you quite a bit. So you'll notice that actually this scroll group here, so if we go to Assets, so there's like a mask group and the scroll group. So where are you? Scroll group. I can open up this comp, and you can see it actually is made up of, it's actually masking in a weird way, basically, that thing. So I could do the same thing. So it's all built in the same manner. Let me go back here. It's all built in the same manner as what you would see. They put them inside of comps, just like you would put things inside of groups in order to mask out and stuff. Okay, so anyway, you can do that. So one of the things that I did earlier is I actually exported out the icon here, and then I brought it in as video. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that, and I'll delete this one as well. And let me go to my assets, and I'm just going to delete this too, just so you can see it's gone. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in a video. So you can also bring in a video. Let's say I just want to have something that's animated moving up and down. So you could just, so what I did is I had grabbed the icon, exported it out to After Effects. I just animated it going up and down, and then I exported it as a video. I'm not going to cover that because if you don't know how to use After Effects, it's going to be too much for you anyway, but just want you to know that you can do that. Then you can bring that video in. You could bring other videos in. Let's say you just want to have like a teaser of what your app is or something that they, or it's a video that the user can play or something, right? You want to have that in there. You can embed videos. So you just do File. I can do File Import. Actually, I'm just going to drag it because it's a little bit easier. So I just have this video here. I'm just going to drag it onto the desktop here and I'll put it right in there. I'm going to, let's make this big again. Let's make this so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so I have this video in here. Now what I'm going to do is this. So you can see it's got this black background. So I'm actually just going to switch the blending mode from pass-through to screen. That way the black will be removed and it'll just leave the color. It's a little bit discolored, but it's better than, I didn't make the background the right color for what I had here. Okay, so that's on that. Then what I can do is you can see right now it's play on tap, which means basically if I have this on, I'm just going to test it. I have to click on it and then it plays the video like that, right? So you click, plays the video, which is cool. It might be what you want depending on what you have. I can also do play automatically, so that means that when you're on it, it just automatically plays. So if you want to have it that you go to a page and it plays this quick little thing and then it ends, that's what you do. I actually want to be able to have it, if I click on this, I can choose to actually loop the playback. And then you can also trim it and stuff, but I'm not going to do any of that. And now if I go to test it, you'll see it's just going to keep going back and forth. It doesn't require me to click. That's just what it does. Okay, so if you're wanting to have some sort of like animated background or something, you could animate like a wallpaper constantly. Just make sure it loops properly, going back and forth, and voila. All right, so you can bring in videos. Once you're done with that, what you might want to do is actually, with the video selected, little plus, just like we do components. And that way, basically, if I put this on anything else, it'll keep all those settings and stuff. So if it's a thing you're using on multiples, it actually has a separate section, just like components and these other elements do. Yeah, okay, so that's how you import that. Another thing I wanted to show you, actually, which I thought this actually might be super helpful for some of you. Some of you maybe not as much. You can also import directly into this Illustrator or Photoshop files. So for instance, let's say I was making a website, and this obviously isn't really great. This is just Photoshop, regular Photoshop file. If you look in here, you can see I got this this picture. It's just a raster image. I put in a folder, and I have text right here, right? This is actual text. And then this is a vector graphic. Just I drew a rectangle, and I just made sure it was on shape and not pixels. That way it'll be a vector and not a raster image. You can see it's got this header. You can see all the names on it, right? Makes sense. Now watch. So I just saved this. Okay, so I already saved it, and I just called it photo to XD. Now inside of XD, I can literally just go File, Open, and I can open that on your computer. Photo to XD, open, and it will start a new artboard with the correct dimensions. There we go. With the correct dimensions and all the elements in it. And if I look at my library, you can see it's just calling it canvas. And there it is. See, it says header. That's what I named that folder. And inside of that folder has that text, has that shape. Here's the feature image, and here's the background. You see it's locked in everything. So it has all the same settings. It even kept the shadow that I put on there. Now look, like even if I grab the shape, I can change it. I can go, oh, I want it to be this color. Because it's a vector graphics, I can change it right in there. If I want to change this text, I can double click on the text and change it there. And I can scale all the elements. So what's really nice is that if you feel more comfortable, and you probably would be more comfortable making something inside of Photoshop, you can literally just save it as the Photoshop document. Make sure it's the right, dimensions. This is just 1920 by 1080, so it's fine for a web page. Make sure it's the right dimensions for whatever you need as far as bringing it in for like a mobile if you're doing a mobile app. And then design it all here. Try to make everything vectors where you can, so that way you can change colors or adjust things if you want. And then literally just bring it into XD, and it will maintain all of these settings and all the stuff they had. And then you can just adjust it and scale it from here on in, and just work your way through. And I believe it also works for Illustrator. I know you can bring in Illustrator. I just haven't done it. I don't know Illustrator as well. So that I think is a super handy tool that you might find helpful. So that I think is really good. Now let me just show you how to export things out. So to export this stuff out, we can do a couple different ways. So the primary way that this is meant as a mock-up, right? That you would use this and you would send it to both the client and also the person that's producing the app for you. Okay. So if you click on the Share tab, you can see that basically you can choose a flow. So I only have this one flow that I made. If you remember, basically you can hit the little thing here, and then so I don't know, something there, but you can have different flows. So right now I just have app is the one I named this one. So anyways, go to the Share, and then you can see there's a link. So it's just going to be app. And then basically has these different setups for what you send to people. But if you just do design review, it's basically going to send the client is what you want to do. You would send it just how it looks when you hit Command Enter. It's going to look just like this, and it will work the same way, but it'll be in the web browser, and it will create a link. And then you can create the link, and then you can send that link to a potential client, and then they can review it, or whoever your art director and all that stuff is. And it's just an online link that anybody can get to. It's a public link. So you can just copy it, and you just paste it, and you send it to whoever, okay? I don't really know much of the difference between these, to be honest. You just look at that one. But you even have user testing. So you can send this to multiple people, and they could all test that and see how well it works and how well they're reading it, right? And there's custom. So that's one way of exporting it. It's going to create this web link. I don't know how long that web link is active or how much you can use it for. But I do know that, it would be there. Okay. So that's one way. That's probably the primary way, to be honest. For me, I would still want you to send the actual XD file, send this whole XD file to me, because that's better than this, because that way I can see what you did in case there's an error or, if there's something interesting. Okay. So that's one way of exporting. Another way of exporting is you just go to File and you go Export, and you can do all artboards. So what that's going to do is it's literally going to grab each one of these artboards, and it's going to export it as what you choose up here. So there's PNG, which is obviously a raster, but with transparency. SVG, which is scalable vector graphic. It's a vector graphic. PDF, right? You know what a PDF is, and JPEG. And so you can choose any one of these. What I would tell you to do is if you're going to do all of them, like this big thing, I'd probably do those as PDFs. And I would do it as a single PDF. What that means is that when I go to export it, I wish it would open it up automatically for me, but it doesn't. I don't think it does. So let's see. Where are you? Oh, there we go. Let's just make it big. It'll basically make it as one. Each page will be one page in this PDF. Okay. So that's what that does. But you could also do You know, you could also make the choice to do a probably PNG would be your best bet. 1x, 2x, so on and so forth. So for example, I'm going to do 1x and 2x, or actually let's do this. So I could do all of them, or I can just select one artboard specifically. So file, export. I'm just going to do the one artboard, so selected, and I'm going to choose PNG. And I'm going to do 1x, and then we'll do file, export, selected, and I'm also going to do 2x just so you can see. Okay, and export. Okay, let's change. Well, crap. Well, so basically what's going to do is it's going to scale it as twice the size. You probably already figured that out. Okay. Another thing you can do, again, is this. I'm going to select this one just as an example. So file, export, selected. Now, so if you choose to do, let's see, we'll keep it as PNG. But if I choose to do web, iOS, or Android, you're going to notice that it gives you specific settings for each one of these. So for instance, if I choose iOS, it's actually going to give me a 1x, 2x, and 3x version. And then you'll see what it does. Oh, did I export to the right spot? Oh, here it is. Yeah, so 1x. So see, it says 2x and then 3x. And basically the difference is this. So if I zoom in on this, see how poor the quality is? Now watch. If I go to the next one, and we go zoom in, see how the quality is much higher. It's not getting pixelated now. So that's basically the difference. This is the 3x version. So by default, that's what you would want for to send for an iOS app. And then there's also web and there's Android. Android's a lot different. They do a whole bunch of folders. Web is actually almost the same. It's just 1x and 2x is what it creates, which can be kind of handy. Yes, so we can do that. So that's super helpful. And you can do something like this. We could, like, let's say I just want these icons because I need them for the apps. I could grab just those icons, do file, export, select it, and then choose PNG. And I'm just going to go ahead and let's do 2x because this is usually half the size. And then we'll hit export. And it's actually going to export out the icons as PNGs. And you can see they have the alpha and everything built into them. So the blue goes through. So that would be useful if you actually needed the images themselves. You could export them out that way. Okay. So that's super handy. And then the final way I would say that you might want to try and export this out just so that you would have it for perpetuity. If you wanted to, let's say you made a website. We did an app here, obviously, but let's say we made a website. You can, in a way, sort of publish it, but you're going to see it doesn't work exactly the same. So let's try that out. So if you go to the plugins, you'll find one for web export. So let's see, browse plugins. And then we'll just do web. Let's see if we come, okay, web export. So I just grabbed the web export, says it's already installed, okay? There's other ones too, but this one seemed to be the most prominent. So this one looks like it's got higher, oh, but it's 29 bucks. So anyway, so I use that one. And then basically we just go to our plugins now. So I'm just gonna click on the plugins tab, go to web export, and we can do export artboard. Okay, and let's see. Let's close. So I want to grab all of these ones. There we go. Now we're going to do it. So export artboards. All right. And then I think the default settings are pretty much okay. So that looks fine. And then we're going to export. And it should. Oh, I didn't. Please select an export. Oh, export folder. Why are you not? There we go. There we go. So we're just going to go ahead and do XD export, select folder, and export. Okay, there you go. So then it says messages 7. So now if we go over here, you can see if we only did service. So I might have to do each one separately. So so none of these buttons are going to work. I have to do each one. But it would let me do multiple ones. So let's do home. And we'll just do, oops. And we'll just do export artboard. Now I'll hit OK. And then I'm going to grab about us for artboard. Okay. So the difference between the top one and the first one is the top one brings up that menu, and the bottom one just uses the last setting. I think I already did home, right? Can't remember. And we'll do menu, export artboard. Okay. So we'll go here so you can see here's all the stuff. So let's go to home so you can see it. Okay. All right, so there it is. And if I click on this, you can see it's not giving me that thing, right? So some of them work, some of them do not. This is not working very well at all. But anyway, that allows you to export out as the web. And yeah, so let's see, external style sheets. Oh yeah, there they are. Okay, so like that. And then that's fine. Export. And then let's see. Maybe now it'll work correctly. Let's see. I think it's not working. Oops, that was an image, not the. I think it's not working because we have a drop down and it's not reading that. So I have no way of navigating to the other elements. So what ends up happening is the animated components, like such as when we click on this thing here. So let's just control enter. When I click on this thing gets animated down. That menu comes down. It's not able to see that. So I'm not able to navigate to the other ones. But if you had all the links just there and you clicked on them, it will actually link one to the other one. It's just not doing it because of the way that we did this. It's not able to read that. So the export is not 100%. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of it. But it's nice that it at least sort of does it. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you that stuff so you can watch that, you know. And yeah, so that's how you import and export generally.